Good evening. I'm thankful to the organizer for inviting me to this mission because I believe energy transition is inevitable and nobody can stop it. It is the need of the time. As I come from ONGC, I'm head renewables in ONGC and also chief operating officer in ONGC Green Limited. First, I'll tell you something about my company. ONGC is a leading Maharatna, and we have in our group ONGC, HPCL, ONGC Videsh, and MRPL. The revenue of the group is 6,84,829 crores, and the PAT for the group is 32,778 crores. ONGC has set many benchmarks. We are amongst the top CPSEs in terms of market cap, amongst top CPSEs in terms of profit before tax and profit after tax. 25% of the total net worth of all Maharatna CPSEs is with ONGC, and we are the most gender diversified Maharatna board, and our average spend on CSR is 500 crores per year. As an integrated energy company, we are into upstream, that is oil exploration, then into refinery and petrochemicals, value-added products, LNG, power, renewables, and other services. Our operations are spread across India in every nook and corner of the country. This is just a glance at our financial performance. As I told you, group profit after tax is 32,778 crores. And we have global footprint through our subsidiary ONGC Videsh Limited, and 32 projects in 15 countries. Now comes the change or transition. We are an oil and gas company, but we know that oil and gas is going to last in India for a long time. But we have now focused on renewable energy, and we are taking all domains of renewable energy into our portfolio. We have set a net zero target for scope 1 and scope 2 by 2038. You all are aware of the Panchamrit, which is the mantra given by our Prime Minister. And then coming to ONGC's strategy, we have planned to have 10 gigawatt capacity by 2030. And we are focusing on all areas: energy efficiency, more gas as a transition fuel, offshore and onshore wind, solar, carbon capture, and hydrogen. And we intend to develop deep capabilities across value chain in each area. Currently, we have installed capacity of around 200 megawatt. And as I told you, we intend to reach 10 gigawatt by 2030. And our plan is a capex of 1 lakh crores by 2030 and another 1 lakh crore by 2038 to achieve our net zero targets. We are going for 25 CBG plants as mandated by Government of India, and we have plans to have 1 MMTPA of green ammonia, which will be costing around 40,000 crores. We are also going to participate in the offshore wind tender, which MNRE has floated for seabed leasing. And we are looking for growth through organic as well as inorganic route. We have emerged as a H1 bidder for acquisition of PTC Energy, 288 megawatt wind power plants. And then we are also working on geothermal with a pilot plant of 1 megawatt in Puga Valley, biofuel and natural hydrogen exploration are other areas where we are working. We also intend to have 2 gigawatt capacity of pump storage, because plain vanilla RE is not welcome now. What we need is RTC, and especially for green hydrogen, storage becomes a very critical element. And to achieve all this, our company has recently incorporated a separate green arm, which we are naming as ONGC Green Limited on 27th of February this year. So this reflects the empowerment ONGC has given to achieve the clean energy targets for itself and for the country. These are various initiatives which we are taking, as I told you, to achieve the net zero by 2038, focusing in all conventional renewable areas, solar, wind, solar parks, and into new energy areas like green hydrogen. Carbon capture, utilization, and storage is another area where ONGC is going to venture in. Offshore wind project is our top priority because we have the expertise in operating in offshore, because all our installations in Mumbai, they have the experience and capacity for executing offshore projects. So offshore wind is a natural pathway for us. And for energy efficiency, we are using dynamic gas blending, micro turbines for power generation, and as I told you, we are also looking for geothermal sites now in India, in addition to 1 megawatt pilot project in Ladakh. Now, the topic today was India's clean energy revolution. The time is less, and I think most of the things might have been deliberated in the earlier sessions. But just to give you a glance of what renewable energy status India has on date, total installed capacity of 183.49 gigawatt, which includes the 46.92 gigawatt of large hydro. That is minus large hydro, it is around 136 gigawatt as on end of February this year. And there is a huge potential which can be tapped in all the domains: solar, wind, offshore wind, small hydro, biomass, and waste to energy. Another thing which I would like to stress upon is the equity returns. You know, as a ENP company, what we have seen, we are still looking for returns somewhere in the range of minimum 12%, 12 to 15%, 20%. But in renewable energy projects, generally the returns are somewhere in the range of 8 to 10%. So this empowerment is required to invest in an area where you are getting returns at a rate which are lower than what you are getting in your regular business. India, as we have seen, has set a target of 500 gigawatt by 2030 and net zero as a country by 2070. Now, to my mind, these are the key enabling factors which have created the clean energy revolution: the climate change commitments, the reduction in costs due to advancement in technology in solar and other areas, the vast untapped potential in renewable energy, and above all, the strong government focus on renewable energy growth. Government has come with various wonderful schemes which are going to support the high capital intensive areas like offshore wind or green hydrogen, so to say. Then the competitive, transparent bidding process, huge growth prospects for per capita consumptions are there, because we are a country or economy which is going to acquire the number 3 spot very soon. RPO obligations, the must-run status, these are enablers: long-term contracts, return predictability, the tax incentives government is giving, then better financing options. Infrastructure development, here I would like to say a lot has been done, but if we want to go for offshore wind, then we really need to have a very good infrastructure as far as ports are concerned, or handling of large equipments, that is, I mean, the wind turbines, which are of very, very high capacity and very high weight. They require special vessels or barges, which are the need of the time, and for that we need to develop those capacities. Even in Europe, those barges are not available because all those barges are booked for a very long time. So empowerment here requires some flexibility in dealing with agencies outside India. These I will not touch much. Green hydrogen mission, you know, the total capital outlay is 19,744 crore. This is a big pusher because we want to be a global hub for green hydrogen. This slide itself tells what is the green hydrogen mission and what are the expected outcomes. This is I am showing because these are the empowerment or policy push that the government has given to push the green energy. Then PLI scheme for solar modules, you know, it was done in 2 tranches and around 25,000 crore was kept as a budget provision for the 2 tranches. These are some facts and figures which are telling that yes, empowerment is being done for renewable energy. The offshore wind, as a ONGC man, I stress on this because ONGC has experience of handling large-scale complex offshore projects. We also know how to do geotechnical and geophysical surveys. Strong balance sheet and high rating. Because of our deep pockets, we can take the risk for this highly capital-intensive area. We have trained workforce which is able to work across different terrains, and we have the ability to arrange low-cost capital access. To my mind, offshore wind could be a game changer in Indian RE scenario. This is the trajectory. 37 gigawatt are to be developed by 2030. And these are different models government has come out. And you are already aware there are many schemes which have been brought out by government, solar, PM Kusum scheme, then various incentives like GBI in the past, setting up of ultra mega parks, then waiver of ISTS. These are the incentives which are empowering agencies which are not regular RE players to come into the business, because these are the provisions which are making these projects profitable. Now coming to the point that what further is required for empowerment. We are talking about empowerment, but for key areas like green hydrogen or carbon capture or offshore wind, what we require is alliances with the foreign partners or companies who have specialization in these areas. And for that, the time is essence. So timely clearance and approvals for JV proposals and SPVs. You know, the problem with a PSU or a government company is that you have to be transparent in every aspect. When you select a partner, you have to call a bid, tender, and after tender you decide who is going to be my partner. But for areas like carbon capture or offshore wind, where highly technologically able partners are required, we need to change the rules of the game. And that is what is required towards the empowerment. Then alliance with leading RE players. We also need the policy and regulatory framework for new technologies like CCUS. For offshore wind it has come, green hydrogen is making a lot of noise, but CCUS is still, the regulatory framework is required. So that kind of empowerment is required. And also for these high value technologies like green hydrogen or offshore wind or CCUS, you need to have same kind of benefits which you are giving to other renewable energy projects. So, because if we think only of solar and wind, then maybe today they are the major component of the clean energy. But in times to come, within 5 to 6 years, you will be seeing much about the carbon capture or green hydrogen or offshore wind. But these will come only when they get proper benefits, when they get proper funding. In Europe, etc., where the offshore wind is a major component of their power supply, all initial projects were done through government funding. So here, government has to come forward. So that is my point, that financial framework for support in terms of viability gap funding, etc., is required. And we say that lot of, procedural hurdles have been removed, but still we need a single nodal agency for the upcoming areas. Like, again, my focus is on offshore wind, carbon capture, green hydrogen. Here, a single window clearance is required. Otherwise, these projects like offshore wind, which have gestation period of 5 to 7 years, they will, not come that fast as we are needing them. And again, the development of infrastructure to cope up with the high capex and high technology areas is also required. Thank you. This was all about empowerment, what we need and what we have.
A big round of applause for Dr. Joshi for an excellent presentation. Thank you, sir, for having joined us.